If the question is what are the differences in the different transitions, the methods, or which one is the best, then we have plenty videos and audios online.
So you have plenty. Okay, it was really how best for me to approach this, because I've tried a few methods, but they were not successful for me. So I'm looking for a way to become breatharian.
We have material on YouTube about different methods on transitioning which are right now working in the world. In these videos we discuss how these methods are working and what problems occur, so what obstacles are hindering the process.
Which method is Olga teaching?
She has her own method which she got licensed, and it is completely different from everything that is offered as far from right now, because she understands very good the physiological processes on the transition of Breatharianism, and all the other practices they have more spiritual base. So people already came to the conclusion that yes, they have to cleanse their bodies. They still believe that this is some kind of a mystical process. But a clean body by itself is a mystical thing as it is. So at a certain level of energy, the difference between the mystical world and the miracles and the physical reality, so to say, vanishes. So can you step by step tell us which method you have tried and what results you have experienced?
For me, I have tried two methods a little. One was Yasmuhin. I didn't, to me there was too many exercises and spiritual things. I've reached for myself a certain understanding with spirituality, and I find too many spiritual exercises clutter the mind, so I moved away from that.
Olga, I asked you to go deeper in it, so to start at the beginning, what you have been expecting, what you have done exactly, and yeah, what then happened and what change occurred. She wants to understand your psychological state, so to say.
With Breatharianism, for me, is something I've wanted to achieve for some time, simply because many years ago I had an awakening that everything was, as I experience now, was an idea, an illusion. Why we have to eat if everything's still an illusion. Mm-hmm. I wanted to particularly, there were two things. One was I was interested in creating a light body, and the other was to get sustenance or nutrition from another source, like the only way I found which worked for a little while, but I had to keep doing it, was Sungazing.
About the Sungazing, what was it, what stopped you? Was it really some circumstances that you couldn't allow yourself to make the practice more intense, or was it some feelings that occurred, maybe some damage, or you felt not right? What was it exactly?
We live in Scotland, and it became difficult because the weather here is cloudy a lot of the time.
Yes, of course. Anyway, she is very happy that you didn't or couldn't continue this way. Even in the internet there are many clues about the vision of people get worse. And secondly, Olga herself got a lot of messages from people from all over the world who damaged their eyesight, and they came to her and asked her what to do. Very important here is to understand that this is no must in order to make the transition. There are more ways which are more safe. At a certain moment it was simply the only one information that was available, so it became kind of a propaganda. And it is logically that people who got their eyesight damaged, they have some history before this, so some ground where it can start. But anyway, why do you need to risk when you don't need to do it? So
yes, I'm looking for a safe way to do this, and I had listened to some of the YouTube videos with Olga, and I thought the sounds for me, I had some connection with what she was saying, and that's why I've come to ask her now.
Yes, thank you. What processes or methods maybe you have tried after this, or when there are no, yes, what was the experience or the understanding of change? What happened in your understanding?
My understanding of change was that when I ate food, although I enjoyed it, I find I don't need very much. But after Sungazing, and when I stopped it, my old habits came back and was eating, just normal again. But I feel now's the time is to look at this and start investigating again. I didn't go very deep into the not eating stage. It was just for a few days here and some there. I would not be hungry.
Yes, you said something about Jasmuhin. Have you applied some special diet, or yes, what have you tried?
I went along with some of Jasmuhin, but I went on to raw foods because I thought that might help. But I didn't really feel I was connecting to what she was telling me. So I stopped it.
What regime diet do you have right now?
Right now, I'm mostly just vegetarian.
If you allow, Olga would put very shortly what she is actually doing and will state her opinion about what you said.
Okay, thank you.
In her life, she experienced breath stopping, and this way she came to dissolution of her physical body. She experienced dissolution of her physical body and went into the state of the body of light. Given the fact that it was a spontaneous happening, she was interested for years in this topic and was doing a certain kind of steps. At the moment when it happened, she was for 3 months already on Breatharianism, and 1 month out of these 3 was dry. When this happened, she realized the system, how it's happening, and she came back into the physical form in order to make this system real. And her system of the realization of immortality or the body of light is quite similar. It's nearly the same. The only difference is in the question where this being, in which layer of existence this being wants to be existing. So if the being wants to be in the physical world without any limitation of time, or to be in other dimensions. During the practice, Olga gives a lot of details on this. The first step in this system where we need to start, it is enlightenment. She told in the beginning that the first factor which was helping this process was Breatharianism. Food itself, by itself, isn't neither bad or good. Food simply holds a certain level of perception of consciousness. Just by an example, if the person wants to resonate with very low vibrations, then he really needs meat. It is fitting into the psychosomatic construction in his vision of the world, understanding of the society. And logically it allows him to be fixated in this vision, in this idea. Olga is not saying definitely that eating meat is bad. There are many different individual aspects that we need to look at in advance. Here are a few examples. If the person has really low level of vibration, really low energy, and he eats meat, then it will kill him. Because the leftover of the food pollution that can get out of the body, for example the proteins which cannot be worked out, all of it leads to different diseases and yes, stops the flow of the work of the body. Or the man is very active, lives very healthy, is doing sports, and at the same time he is eating a certain amount of meat. This meat will be digested and goes out. There is not much of damage that stays. Or some practice in Tibet, they eat meat, and basically it is a greater part of their portions. But at the same time they are doing spiritual practices and raising their level of energy. So they are kind of burning it away and simply leaving nothing behind but energy. So basically everything depends on the level of energy. But in the initial stage, when the body is weak and energy is not in big amounts present, of course the use of heavy food and not only meat will not allow the energy to be developed into higher levels. And the body doesn't have the strength to cleanse itself, to reconstruct the flow of the energy, and at the same time to digest the food. So that's why starvation, cleansing and a light diet in the initial stages of practices are not breaking or hindering the process. And why enlightenment is the main factor? Because a person who is not enlightened identifies himself with many things. So his attention is stuck in certain positions where he doesn't understand why he's stuck there. And you said that in a certain moment you discovered everything as an illusion. Olga disagrees on this. There is nothing that we can call illusion. Even hallucinations have their place to be, but simply as an hallucination. Olga will state now the primary statement which you need to understand on the process to enlightenment. When people hear it, they think it is a very normal statement, there is nothing special about it. But this is the key, and this is how it sounds. Everything that is. So if we are talking about the fact that you discovered or felt food to be an illusion, then this says that in this certain moment you stop resonating with a certain energy. But this doesn't mean that these energies are illusory. Same way when people are lost and say that the physical world is an illusion. Maybe the only thing which is not existing in this world, it is an illusion. Everything else is simply a question of resonance. Reality is what we perceive, and if aside from the physical level we can perceive something else, this doesn't mean that there is something wrong with the physical level, or that or that there is an illusion. And enlightenment is understanding of what is, without any interpretation, because in our mind always new interpretations pop up, which are based on previous experience, and we lose the direct contact with experience, with existence. We always retreat back into the experience. Just right now, as Olga was telling this, she experienced a good example. In our room we have a picture on the walls hanging, and as she was talking, her side hit the picture. And at the same moment, the thought appeared in her mind, and the thought was a picture. And a feeling appeared that this is something that she already knows, and it is not very attractive. But since she is trained to perceive in a certain way, she identified this picture, this word, as a thought. And the feeling of not being interested as a feeling that gave the signal for this thought. And she continued to observe this picture, to look at it, and she discovered many things that she finds interesting and beautiful. Many new things which she never discovered before, and a good feeling, a bright feeling, a happy feeling appeared in her. That's exactly the way the work of mind is going on in human brain. By touching some certain phenomenon, we always discover something that we know and something that is interesting, and loses the beauty of life. The man discovers a feeling of not being satisfied, and he wants to fill in this with some joy, and always seeking something new. But at the same time, because of this, he loses the current moment and the beauty of the current moment. This is directly connected with Breatharianism. She knows a lot of examples when people make the transition to Breatharianism, but psychologically they are not prepared for the state of happiness and joy. They simply don't know what to do with themselves, and they have too much energy. And they start to eat not because their body wants it or not because they are losing weight, but because the feeling of unsatisfaction is growing inside of them and they simply cannot manage to work with it. But after they have eaten, they feel also bad and they insult themselves, like, now you have eaten, you have done something wrong. This leads even deeper. Describing enlightenment, many teachers are saying, to be like kids, realize the beauty of life right now. That's why the word illusion is not fitting here. Olga was searching for 25 years for enlightenment. And from every teacher she heard that there is no method, there is no technique, like it is a bliss from God, and there is no way to do it, no technique that you can follow. No meditation are leading to enlightenment. And when enlightenment happened to Olga, she realized the reasons for why the men are not being aware of their true nature. And she developed technology. And she was very happy because she now could help the people to direct their attention correctly during one session. And after this she visited India. And in Hyderabad, in the cave of Babaji, she was meditating in a cave. And a certain kind of a stream happened. And she perceived thousands of methods of technologies how to teach enlightenment. Some of them were very easy, some of them very hard. The example with the picture is also a method of transitioning. But she is applying or teaching the first technology that she invented in the first place, because she is sure for 100% sure that it works. First off, because it is a step-by-step method, it gives results. And secondly, if the listener after the webinar is distracted and loses this state, thanks to the technology, he always can come back to this state. So if you put everything that she said together, for the realization of immortality, in the first place we need to get rid of anything that we don't need concerning the food. Secondly, we need to understand in which spheres our attention is stuck and what we need to do, how we can release it in order to move on. And the last factor is the change of the way we are breathing. Breathing is present at every level of being, so at every energetical body. It is so to say a kind of connecting chain that connects every energetical being that we are. Breathing is affecting the psychosomatic way stronger than food or the psyche. Just the same way as heavy food like meat is affecting weak organism, weak body, same way deep breathing is fixating us in a certain state. And if a person eats 3 times a day, then he is breathing every second. To compare, you can say that the person is drinking empty water, distilled water, or some kind of a fuel that is used for cars, for example. The existence or the presence of the physical breath shows in which way the structure of yourself is not in order. How deep you breathe shows you how deep the level of this disorder is. And from this position we can understand that if a person is controlling his breath, then in a natural way more and more he stops resonating with food, because breathing is a way of gaining energy. And if primarily we are breathing with oxygen, which is from the physical world, of course, then it is logically that we get vibrations into our body which are also from the physical world. And this is not some kind of a mystical or esoterical idea. medicines and doctors came a long time ago to the conclusion that we are breathing with ionized air, which actually is this kind of energy that we need. So if the air isn't ionized, then we simply die. While at the same time we have a lot of air, oxygen around us. So we need to change our way of breathing. So a different kind of food, a different kind of thinking, and a different kind of breathing. And then we will be able to see a difference. The vibrations of those levels which we right now simply cannot perceive. That's why the realization of immortality is quite a simple process. It's simply a question of the interest. What is important for the person? Do you have questions?
2 questions. The first one is the breathing techniques. Is this a special technique that you teach? How do I learn this? The other is when you were talking about seeing things as they are, just sitting in my room here looking, I was experiencing everything without thought, just as it is, as though it was sort of just perfect the way it is, with no attempt to change anything. Is that the presence we're talking about?
Two a little bit different topics. Olga has a course of lectures in a very compressed way during 21 days. She packed the whole course. It is Breatharianism, pranic breathing, Enlightenment, and pranic breathing has 3 steps. So this course has 3 steps, and then additionally she has Tantra, and during these courses she gives transition. Aside from the lecture itself, she makes a certain kind of massage, and this way she releases certain blocks and spasms and guides the energy in the correct flow. And when the person is able to feel, she shows this person who is able to feel on herself how the energy needs to flow. So she shows it on herself. But not always people are able to go through the whole course, because sometimes 3 weeks or 1 month is simply too much of time to offer, and not all the people have the possibility to come to Russia. That's why she found this way of giving the first stages of Breatharianism, pranic breathing and Enlightenment via as a webinar via Skype. So she gives a system, gives certain methods, certain knowledge, and afterwards she is controlling and that everything is going well and correctly. So after the webinar, the contact isn't ending. She isn't simply quitting the contact. You will stay in touch and yes, work together. Very often it happens to Olga that people write to her that they went through the lectures of Kamila and Akahi in the United States, and afterwards they came home and problems started to appear, problems with their hair, with eye, with skin, and they asked for help Kamila and Akahi, and they said to them, you haven't reached the certain level of love of meditation. Keep going of meditation, make more spiritual exercises, at some point it will happen with you. But the problem is not in meditation, but simply that the person has fungi. Anyway, the method of transition to Breatharianism by Olga is built on 2 really logical and natural systems of cleansing. And the first one is burning out, and the second one is leaching or washing out. Why she is saying it is natural? Because our body is using these principles, these systems from the beginning. If the body needs to wash something out, it demands water. If toxification is too much or the person has some kind of an infection, then his temperature rises, and this is a natural process of burning out. That's why Olga makes it clear in the first place. It has to be a way that pays attention at 3 moments. We need to pay attention at the physical body, at the psychological body, and the energetical. When we pay attention only to meditation or only to the energetical exercises, then the disbalance.
As you said earlier, things are as they are, which kind of triggered a response in me. So at one level, I'm just an observer, a witness, and seeing everything just as it is without any need to change or add anything. But just seeing, it's difficult to describe. With a clarity, that's it, really. No labels.
And you wanted to confirm if your understanding was right, or if you.
Yes. That was just to get some confirmation.
Yes, she was hoping that this sentence will have this kind of effect. That's why she told it, and she's very happy that this connection worked out. But thinking without labeling, it is not. It is not definitely enlightenment. If we are to touch what enlightenment really is, for example, in the descriptions of traditions, then we can find that there are many ideas and suggestions about what enlightenment is or should be. It is very good to remember the famous story how blind people touched an elephant. Do you know maybe by any chance this story?
Yes, I do, yes.
So when a person says that the state without thought, it is enlightenment, or perceiving without labeling is enlightenment, these are very moment-bound phenomena, which may be present in the enlightened state, or also they may be absent in the enlightened state. Real enlightenment, without any abstracted understanding, is given in spiritual traditions, mainly in Sakchen, are exactly these kind of traditions which are meant to help to realize the body of light. Here we are not questioning theology. This is a very practical moment. It is the understanding of how your mind is working. So here now we go over to the topic of how the mind is working. And there is no difference in is this thought labeling or not. It is simply a work of mind. The one is a work of mind and the other is also a work of mind. And we make the next step, we go behind this and we start to realize our true nature. But we need to make one more step. We need to understand not only our personal nature, our own nature, but also the nature of everything, to understand the process of creation. And when at this level, at this moment, our attention is directed, at this very moment the realization of the body of light will start to happen. Because at this moment attention is not fixated anywhere. It's like, to make an example, a person wants to go to Paris, has packed all his stuff and went in another room in this house. And then he is surprised why didn't he actually arrive in Paris. He thinks maybe I ate something wrong and maybe I was breathing wrong. Mainly that's the way it's happening. Any questions?
Just an observation from my side, not so much a question. Now, when you're saying go without the labeling of the thoughts, and you go, you put the attention, you don't fixate it on anything, like an object, there becomes a spontaneity, that an energy or something, I don't know how to describe it because it's more than just an energy. There's a connection. The connection is probably understanding it with the mind, but it seems as though things are arising as a result of my observing, or it's difficult for me to describe, but there's a kind of there's a quietness, and things existing as a separate entity, but there's something. It's a connection, but not a connection in terms. It's like an energetical connection. It's probably the only way I can describe it. I'd like to thank you both very much for taking the time.
Thank you for your call as well, because the last few days people start to call Olga via Skype, which are indeed interested in realization of body of light. And Olga is very happy about it, because these are peoples who are willing to go further, to go till the end. So they are not willing to stop at some yogic moments. So that's why it was very interesting for her.